Daggerheart releases its final playtest.
The end is here.
On Tuesday, Darrington Press released the final playtest for Daggerheart, its upcoming high fantasy tabletop RPG. The playtest contains several notable changes to the game, with the elimination of the minor damage threshold and the subsequent rebalancing of, well, just about everything related to damage as a result. In addition, all classes now have a unique hope feature, which allows players to spend hope to activate certain abilities, and we also got 2 new campaign frames, which are kind of like specialized campaign settings that each come with their own rules and special features. So the biggest change here is the elimination of the minor damage threshold, which means that any successful attack that hits will do at least 1 hit points worth of damage unless you negate it using your armor. In a video explaining the changes, Spenser, Starke, and Matt Mercer explained that the minor damage threshold took away some of the fun of hitting with an attack, and also made certain classes a lot more powerful because they could just negate damage easily with their high minor damage threshold. Now keep in mind, players can still reduce oncoming damage using their armor slots, but the tank classes got a bit weaker because of these changes.
The biggest way this is going to cascade down is that Guardians and Seraphs are going to have a little bit harder time basically being like impervious, but that's kind of the point too, is they were already OP, especially the Guardian was so OP. So we're hoping that that helps to make the Guardian a little more balanced, to pull all that down a little bit, and I know it's always hard having your characters nerfed. It's never a fun experience.
You're no longer godlike, you're still just really powerful and really cool.
Now on the plus side, every class now has a mechanic that is powered using hope points. This fixes a pretty common complaint that I've heard from players, namely that they wanted more options to spend hope that doesn't feel quite as generic. For instance, the rogue can use hope points in order to boost their sneak attack damage. You know, each class has something that allows hope points to kind of empower one core ability of their class. The other interesting change in this playtest is the addition of 2 new campaign frames, the Witherwild and 5 Banners Burning. Now, campaign frames, in case you've forgotten, are basically campaign settings that come with specific mechanics and themes that are unique to each setting. The Witherwild is a campaign frame that uses the Fanewick, a region beset by an invading force who is trying to gather material for a cure to a dangerous plague. 5 Banners Burning, meanwhile, is set in a region consisting of 5 nations that are on the precipice of war. Think Game of Thrones or Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, both settings come with their own mechanics. The Witherwild has corruption mechanics, for instance, while 5 Banners Burning utilizes faction mechanics and opposing objectives. It's pretty interesting to see how the game designers Spenser and Rowan were involved with the Witherwild, and Michael Underwood was involved with 5 Banners Burning, and he was the writer of the Daggerheart adventure that was released earlier during this playtest. It's interesting to see how both of them build up campaigns that are meant specifically for Daggerheart. I really encourage everyone to kind of check that out and see exactly what the designers think a Daggerheart campaign should look like. Now, this will be the last public playtest for Daggerheart ahead of its release next year. It's interesting to see that the designers are still taking some pretty big swings at mechanics as they wrap up this playtest, and it'll be interesting to see what makes it in the game, given that we've seen so much variety in the playtests, and we've seen the designers go back and forth, and seeing, you know, they'll change one thing for one playtest and then revert it back into the next one. So we really don't know the nuances of how this game will eventually turn out, like we did with something like 1D&D with the 2024 rules changes. A lot of what we saw there was already in the final playtests and have basically made it through with only minor tweaks. I don't think that's going to be the case with Daggerheart, but I guess we'll see. Let us know what you think about the last Daggerheart playtest in the comments section, and let us know if you're excited to play the final version of the game when it comes out in 2025. And as always, don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons.